Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Scrapbook.com has a huge sale happening this week. It starts August 24th and it goes through August 30th, 2026. You can save an extra 25% off Scrapbook.com exclusive branded products using the code SBC25. The only products that are not part of this sale are their SBC Fest kits, past and present. I'll add all the details in the description box below for this sale, but now is the time to grab those Scrapbook.com branded exclusive products and save big. In today's video, I'll be making some cards using almost all Scrapbook.com exclusive branded products. So it's stuff like this, you'll be able to save an additional 25%. Now for products that are not eligible for the 25% discount, you can still order them, add them to your cart, and they'll ship right along with everything else. You just won't get that additional discount. The cards I'm making today are Thanksgiving cards. I'm using Scrapbook.com's Turkey Time die set. This turkey is super cute. For pattern paper, I pulled out their Oak Lane collection. I grabbed both the 6x8 and A2 since I'm making multiples of the same card. We'll also be using the nested stitched wide heart dies, and for a sentiment I pulled out the Celebrate Expressions stamp set. This set is great to use throughout the year since it covers lots of different themes and holidays. I'm currently working on Thanksgiving cards that I'll be bringing to the residents at a nearby retirement home, and I'm low on them for next year. I actually have all the cards made for this year, so I'm super excited to be ahead for once. I love doing a good mass production project and thought this die set would be perfect. So I have all the die cut pieces cut out, the sentiment stamped, the pattern paper is cut down, and I put everything in the stack and sort trays, use both the small and large sizes. The ink color I use for the sentiment is Scrapbook.com's Leather. Really nice brown color that matches the pattern paper beautifully. For the stitched wide heart die cuts, I use the soft peach solid pattern paper that's included in the Oak Lane collection. And the heart size I use is the second from the largest. I'm making a total of 12 cards, and I didn't have enough of the leaf pattern paper, so for 5 of the cards, I'm using this soft peach and white gingham paper. All the cardstock I'm using is from Scrapbook.com, and I'll mention the colors as I'm assembling this fun turkey. And if you are interested in any of the products I use in this video, I will have them linked in the description box below. I'll start by doing some ink blending. I grabbed my magnetic glass mat from Scrapbook.com. It's currently available in white, and coming soon they have a pink and teal version coming. I'm super excited about both of them. If you haven't tried a magnetic glass mat, I highly recommend Scrapbook.com's. It's 13 by 13 inches in size and a very reasonable price. It's great for ink blending, mixed media, stencils, and so many other things. Plus, it's super easy to clean. The first die cuts I'm inking are the turkey's body and wings. The cardstock color is Scrapbook.com's Glimmer Sandpaper, although I'm not using the glimmer side, I'm using the smooth side. The ink color I'm using is Distress Oxide Vintage Photo, and I recently re-inked it. You can tell it hasn't quite soaked in completely. So because it's a very juicy ink pad, after putting ink on the brush, I'm wiping off some of it on the glass mat before I start inking the edges of the die cut pieces. So once I'm done inking the body and the wings of the turkey, I'll put them in another small stack and sort tray. I'm not inking any other die cut pieces, but I will add a little bit of color on the edge of the pattern paper pieces. So this leaf paper and also the brown and white stripes. To hold the ink pad in place on the magnetic glass mat, I'm using the small silicone insert that's designed to go inside the small stack and sort trays. You can also use them for other purposes. The silicone with the glass mat work beautifully together. It holds the ink pad securely so I can use both of my hands on the paper and brush while I'm ink blending. I added a little bit of the vintage photo ink along the top edge and sides of the brown and white stripe paper and just a tiny bit on the bottom edge. Most of it will be covered up, so I wasn't worried about adding ink there. On the leaf pattern paper, this piece is cut to A2 size. I'm putting just that little bit of ink along the outside edge. Now that I'm done ink blending, I need to clean up my magnetic glass mat. I'm simply spraying it with a little bit of water and wiping it clean and dry with one of Scrapbook.com's Crafty cleanup cloths. I have the pink one, but it's also available in black. Now it's time to assemble the turkey. So I need to grab the rest of the turkey pieces, and I'm using the silicone insert again. I moved it over more on the right side of the mat, a little easier for me to assemble it. I'll grab the stack and sort trays with all the different die cut pieces and select just one set of the pieces for the turkey. For some of the smaller pieces, I did use the Craft Pro Pick tool, the wax tip end, to pick those up. I'll also grab one of the sentiments, one of the hearts, and I have a brown pattern paper layer for the sentiment. I also need the turkey feathers and the shadow outline piece. The white cardstock I use for the sentiment and that shadow outline piece is Scrapbook.com's Studio White in the 80-pound weight. To adhere the turkey together, I'm using Artiste glue, and I have the ultra fine tip on my bottle. Makes it so easy to get behind these tiny die cut pieces. The cardstock color I use for the turkey legs is Scrapbook.com's Classic Squash. It's a slightly darker orange color. You can assemble the turkey without this shadow outline piece. I think the last time I used this set, I didn't use that piece. But for this card, I wanted it to stand out a little bit more, so decided to cut it out from white cardstock. Using that shadow piece does make it a little easier to assemble the turkey. For the feathers of the turkey, I really like that it's just 2 die pieces, so you don't have to glue down individual feather pieces. The back one has 6 feathers, and then this front one has 5 feathers. I use glimmer cardstock for both of the feather pieces. The orange one is Glimmer Bittersweet and the yellow is Glimmer Golden Yellow. I put the orange feather piece down first and then the yellow one on top. And when adhering them down, I'm making sure there's an even white border around all the feathers. Next, I'll add the turkey's neck and head on the body piece. The cardstock I use for the body is Canvas Cafe au Lait. Once I have those 2 pieces adhered together, I'll put glue on the back and add the turkey's body on the feather area. And to line it up, you just need to look at the bottom area of the body. You still want to have that white border around each of the die cut pieces. Next, I'll attach the wings. Now there are quite a few layers on the body, so at the very end of each of the wings, I am putting some foam dimension. I'm using the 1mm small foam squares, but I did cut one in half since I need just a tiny piece at the bottom of the wings. I'll remove the release paper, then put glue behind the rest of the wings and adhere both of those in place. You can see now this turkey is really coming together. All that's left is the turkey's face. I use more of the Studio White cardstock for the eyes, and for the pupils of the eyes, I use the new black classic cardstock. I'll glue down the whites of the eyes first, making sure they're on nice and straight and even. Next, I'll add the turkey's beak, and this cardstock color is the Heavyweight Candied Yam. It's a lighter orange shade than the feathers and the feet. Now the final two pieces, the pupils of the eyes, and these are very tiny. If you have a steady hand, you could add those with a black pen or marker. I'm using the die cut pieces. I'll first add a tiny drop of artiste glue, and I'll pick up the die cut pieces with the Craft Pro Pick tool. There is the turkey all finished, super cute, and overall very easy to assemble. So now it's time to put together the card. I'll start with the sentiment, and I'm layering it on the solid brown pattern paper that's included in the Oak Lane collection. The back side of this paper is the brown and white stripe paper. Now when layering the sentiment, I don't have any of the brown cardstock at the top, so you just see that brown color on the right and left side, plus underneath the sentiment. The brown pattern paper layer is 4 1/8 of an inch by 1 inch. The brown and white stripe piece, this is 4 1/4 of an inch by 1 3/4 of an inch. I'll put adhesive on the back, and I'm using Scrapbook.com's Deluxe Adhesive Roller. I'll adhere this stripe paper about 1 inch up from the bottom edge of the leaf paper. Now I'll put adhesive on the back of the leaf paper and add it on an A2 size card base. And this card base is from Scrapbook.com. It's their Studio White 120 pound top folding card base. They also have side folding, so if you prefer that version, it is an option. I had a small scrap piece of the leaf paper, and I put it on the inside of the card at the bottom just for a little extra detail. Next, I'll put adhesive on the back of the sentiment and adhere it about 1/2 inch up from the bottom edge of the leaf pattern paper. Now I'll add the large, wide stitched heart die cut. I'll put artiste glue on the back and adhere the heart right above the sentiment, and the very bottom of the heart will sit just slightly on top of that white sentiment strip. Make sure to get it on nice and straight before the glue dries completely. Now it's time to add the adorable turkey image, and I decided I would pop it up using some foam. I'm using the small and large foam squares in the 1 millimeter thickness. You can see my sheet with the small foam squares is almost gone. It's my favorite foam from Scrapbook.com, and I use it all the time. I'll start by adding the large foam squares and then fill in some of those smaller areas with the small foam squares. After removing the release paper, I'll add the turkey inside the large stitched heart die cut. And I'm glad I adhered the turkey on the white outline, since you can see how well it really stands out. For embellishments, I pulled out some pops of color. This is the Chocolate Kiss color. I'll add 3 drops in the upper left-hand corner and 2 in the lower right-hand corner above the sentiment. Now you can leave the drops as is. They will dry nice and hard. I prefer my drops to be on the flatter side, so after adding them, I'll gently tap my card on the edge of a stack and sort tray. So there is my finished Thanksgiving card, and I love how this turned out. I mentioned earlier I was doing some mass producing, so here are 10 other turkeys all assembled. I did have another card already made, so I'm not showing the 11th turkey. And here are the 12 cards all assembled. I'm not stacking them on top of each other yet because the pops of color are still wet. It's best to let them sit for a few hours or overnight just to make sure you don't ruin all your work by smudging the pops of color. If you are interested in any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Don't miss out on this amazing sale at scrapbook.com. You can save an extra 25% off of scrapbook.com branded exclusives with the code SBC25. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.